shit, where am I?
Mate, are we sure that he's gonna be okay? I think so. I mean, his head's the shape of a tic-tac now, but we might as well do some checks. All right, sir, simple question. Is Aubameyang washed? Nah, he's all right still, to be honest. I'd take him in my
God, the
team
brain injuries are worse than we thought.
Yo guys, it is your boy Niren here, and you are watching FTW. This, of course, the series where I bring to you the best and more frequently the worst of what football has to offer during the last 7 days. But what's been kicking off in the world this week? Well, there was drama over in the world of Formula 1 as Max Verstappen won his first World Drivers' Championship after a controversial late safety car to deny Lewis Hamilton on the final lap.
Dear Lord, what a sad little life, Jay.
This is some next goal wins tomfoolery from the FIA. It's a long-winded scenario, but Lewis will feel robbed. It's a scandal.
Match fixed.
I was half expecting that journalist Roman Molina to come out and expose them the next day. Alright, so basically, yeah, Valtteri Bottas, 3 testicles, mate. Don't ask me how I know that. What the fuck, man? Why would you? On to the football now, and in a result as predictable as an Uncle Ben death scene. Alright, so I need to pick up some bread, some milk, probably some kind of juice. For crying out loud, not again. Seriously, boys. No wonder Rice is named after him. The guy's getting cooked every 20 minutes. Leeds were thrashed 7-0 by a ruthless Manchester City. Even they lost count of the goals going in on Twitter. Leeds were absolutely annihilated here. They played their usual same style and got found out for it. They are, in fairness, without a number of big names. Bamford, Phillips, Cooper, Cox, Strauch and FIFPRO all now out. Their bench had a combined age of 32. And Mateusz Klich is 31. The kit bag has school uniforms in it, because that's what some of them were changing out of. Where are their parents in all of this? Marcelo Bielsa can't be a childminder as well. Honestly, I'm pretty sure a couple of them are going to a year 8 disco tomorrow. And now, put your hands together for some S Club 7. Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry, I realised what I've done there. Just the set. For what it's worth, Marcelo Bielsa's still crouching and squatting about. He doesn't even need a gym membership. This guy's got turbo thighs as it is. Even Ruben Diaz was turning his hand to some sensual dancing here. As I said, I do have sympathy for Leeds with the injury crisis, but their squad is way too small, and they play the most intense football in the league. So this is to be expected. Bielsa's not happy about the situation.
No me gusta correr el riesgo de que la realidad no coincida con lo que yo pueda.
Basically, he's saying they're all wasios, bro. Meanwhile, on the other side of the dugout, and Pep Guardiola's being his usual self, I can categorically, wholeheartedly, and bombastically say that this is the best team I have ever come up against. Pep, you scored 7 and their right back was 12 years old. Yeah, you see, but everyone knows a successful brand is built on child labour, so if anything, this was a statement of intent from Leeds. I don't know why Pep always does this, okay? Just accept that you're managing Man City and you're better than the opposition that you've just played. I hope Bielsa can see through the waffle.
Like, don't use reverse psychologically on me. Like, me, I'm even clever than the clever, bruvs.
The bad news for Leeds is they conceded to a guy who looks like he's from High School Musical. The good news, though, is that they play Arsenal next, so at least there's 3 points on the table. Meanwhile, in the crowd, and we've got whatever the hell this is. If he clicks his fingers, he gets a noise complaint. In Europe, and the draw for the knockouts, the Champions League ended in disaster, as a mistake in seeding led to a redraw. Manchester United got PSG originally, but VAR had to step in with that one. Who was in charge of this draw? Michael Massey. UEFA got caught in the act trying to get big clubs to play against one another again. Unless it's City, of course, and then it's a different situation. And Man City will play Burton Albion in the Champions League. They're not even in this competition. How have we... Oh, my apologies. A mistake there. Hey, yeah, I was going to say, because that doesn't even make sense. Macclesfield Rovers B under-19s. Michael Owen was philosophical as ever about what would happen in the second draw, suggesting that teams would get a better one, a worse one, or potentially even the same team. Scottish side Sternhousemoor seemed a little bit confused as to how they got into the draw for the second version. And in that second draw, Real Madrid ended up against PSG. Kylian Mbappe will want to impress his future employers. I just hope that PSG's fate doesn't rest solely on his shoulders. Liverpool fans will be gutted after they got Salzburg in the first draw. No! No, I thought I won! No, I started celebrating! That now means that Karim Adeyemi will face up against Bayern, the team that released him for disciplinary reasons when he was 10. How do you get released for disciplinary reasons when you're 10 years old? Have you stolen Dimitri's potato wedges again, you little dick? Cristiano Ronaldo was gassed knowing he can bully Diego Simeone and Atletico Madrid for a 26th time. Meanwhile for Chelsea, and they somehow managed to draw French side Lille both times.
Man, the first time was so nice, I had to do it twice.
One Chelsea fan booked his flight to Lille only to discover that the whole thing had been cancelled. He applied for a refund, then saw that they'd been drawn against them for the second time. Personally, this can't run. I'm sorry, this is suspicious. Roman Abramovich has to have been doing some dodgy dealings.
The secret ingredient is crime.
Arsenal have had a good week for results after a 2-0 victory over West Ham and a 3-0 victory against Southampton, in which Gabriel Martinelli managed to assist himself, apparently. But it's been an interesting one off it, after Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang was stripped of the club captaincy for not arriving to training. Now hear me out for this one. My reason, yeah, is that he's shit. It must have been an awkward atmosphere on his first day back. At least Alexander Lacazette can try and lift the spirits.
Do you want me to rap anyone? Lift the mood a bit?
No, we don't.
Aubameyang was apparently not at training because he was instead getting a new tattoo. I hope whatever he got, that it was worthwhile. He's got some nerve, you know, not arriving at training because he's playing like he's got COVID. He's playing like he's riddled with malaria. He's the kind of guy as well, like, why are you even going to the barbers? You're wasting everybody's time that's waiting for a haircut. Apparently the idea of a potential leadership group at the club has been floated rather than having just one captain. Names in the hat include Lacazette, Tierney, Odegaard and Granit Xhaka. How are you going to replace a guy who had his captaincy stripped with another man who had his captaincy stripped? And into the interview now, we've got Janit Graka. Might as well throw Mikel himself into the mix. He's the same age as Aubameyang. You can't have a captain committee, a skipper society, a leadership legion. It'll end in chaos in the first meeting.
You have no authority here, Jackie Weaver.
She's just kicked him out. She's kicked him out.
Elsewhere in the Premier League, and Paul Pogba's been trying out his new English accent.
Natural lines, you know, natural shape. You get me? You got the A-star touch and all that. Yeah.
Different, is it different?
Yeah, London thing, yeah.
He spent enough time not actually playing to learn this pretty easily. Leeds may have lost 3-2 to Chelsea, but it was a special moment for youngster Joe Gelhardt and his family watching on at home.
One. Oh, someone's put on Snapchat as well. It is Lynn! Yeah!
Liverpool beat Steven Gerrard's Aston Villa side with a 1-0 victory on the weekend. I'm sure Stevie was still delighted at full time. Meanwhile, Michael Owen had an interesting question for Steven Gerrard at the end of the interview, and this is how he answered it.
Just wondering, we've all played, we've all gone back to Anfield in different guises. I must admit, I hated going back to play against Liverpool. What were your emotions like going back today, and yeah, how did you feel about taking a team to your home?
I played for Man U,
There was controversy at Wolves as a penalty was given away when João Moutinho's ribs were considered to be a third arm, and when Raul Jimenez got 2 yellow cards in the space of 1 minute for a foul and then blocking the resultant free kick. This is very unserious behaviour. You know, the referee didn't even have to put his yellow card back in his pocket. It doesn't look like Tom Holland's been able to convince Kylian Mbappe to join Tottenham here.
It's impossible.
Not even Spider-Man can save Spurs. Mbappe saw Harry Winks and said, you know what, let me take my chances with Thanos. Dominic Calvert-Lewin met rapper Common in the week, looking like Colonel Gaddafi, and Watford shafted a 1-0 lead in the final 10 minutes against Brentford. Look, if you're getting constantly beaten 1v1 by Chris MD, then who are you tackling in the Premier League? Apparently it's been 5 managers since Watford last kept a Premier League clean sheet. As soon as their midweek clash against Burnley was postponed, you can't lose a clean sheet if you don't play. That's not been the only game called off due to COVID outbreaks. Spurs missed their game against Brighton, Manchester United had their game against Brighton postponed, and on top of that, Spurs had their Conference League game against Rennes called off. Not that the French side actually knew that, as they arrived in London 75 minutes before the call was made. It was really desperate luck for them. No bon, no bon. And so with cases spiking again, the potential for a break in the season is on the horizon, or at least games being played behind closed doors. Thankfully, at least for City, attendance numbers won't change, but for Jamie Vardy, he now knows he has no opposition fans to randomly antagonise. One fan has a game-changing idea though. All footballers play with a mask on. That's that then, mate. COVID is in the bin. Let's also just change the football to just being a sphere of anti-bac fluid instead. In France, and Lionel Messi's kids were playing football in their living room when Lionel Messi's been training with Sergio Ramos for 5 months, and this happens. This kid doesn't even know his 3 times table, and he's already double-footing his siblings. In Italy, and we've got this ridiculous assist from Inter's Nicolo Barella. Over in Spain, and Real Betis fans were seen throwing thousands of teddy bears onto the pitch at half-time, as a tradition to then be donated to children's charities, which I love. Meanwhile, it's been a challenging week for Barcelona, who were out of the Champions League, which I'll cover in a different video on its own. Not only that, but they lost to Boca Juniors in a kind of mid-season tournament. Even a Barcelona from a different country has beaten them in the last year. Xavi is looking worse for wear now, and apparently they're also working out formulas to sign Borussia Dortmund's Erling Haaland. I can't imagine those formulas are going all that well. Pythagoras, art thou able to solve the unwritten? Why the fuck are you talking like that, fam? Just give me the paper. Okay, so you do this and then add that and then bracket and carry the 4. Bro, I do maths, not miracles. And it was also the confirmed news that Sergio Aguero will be retiring from football after ongoing heart problems. Again, it is really sad. I think he's genuinely one of the best strikers of this whole generation. Probably one of the best strikers the Premier League's ever seen. I suppose the only silver lining is we can see him back live on Twitch, raging when he's 3-2 down on pro clubs. Over in the reserves leagues of the Netherlands, and we've got this outrageous goal from PSV B's Ismail Salibari. The slight problem with it is that it's in his own net. Someone has let the dogs out again, this time in Europe in the form of a Serbian canine who left his mark on the pitch. That's a red card, mate. You can't do that around here. Come on, lad. Meanwhile, in the Women's Premier League, and Sam Kerr of Chelsea managed to give a pitch invader a piece of her mind and a piece of her shoulder. Hello all, and welcome to The Beautiful Game, the segment where we take a look at the poetic and brilliant side of the game that we love. We are back, by popular demand, for yet more glorious beauty. And that concludes The Beautiful Game. Closer to home, and if anyone is in need, then I've got some Solomon Rondoms for you here. One side effect though, he never finishes, so neither will you. Down in the Championship and playing for Reading, Andy Carroll, ex of West Ham, Liverpool and Newcastle, provided a miracle to keep this ball out of his team's net. Manchester United's final group stage game of the Champions League saw debuts for youngsters, including Robbie Savage's son, Charlie. And in a beautiful turn, Robbie was commentating on the game himself. I'm not sure he'll be as accepting of Charlie though if he misses a sitter.
Until deliver that baby. Look, that's not my son.
Leicester City are out of the Europa League after late drama in the other game of their group, where Legia Warsaw had the chance to send Spartak Moscow out with a 96th minute penalty. Fortunately for the Russian side, their goalkeeper saved it right at the death. And that leads Leicester on a path into the Conference League. Not that Brendan Rodgers knows what that tournament is. Over in Poland, and ahead of that vital group stage match, Spartak Moscow actually bought advert space in the city to ask whether their opponents were ready for the challenge. Turns out they weren't. It's a shithousery award for Spartak Moscow again. Can somebody else please win this now? Meanwhile, at Bolton versus Fleetwood, and there was a debut for a new winger, as a duck managed to get onto the pitch and stop play there. Yeah, have some of that, mate. You're off. Give me the card, man. For fuck. Over in Mexico and playing in their league's grand final, Atlas were given a golden opportunity to put the game back in their hands. And then they wasn't in their hands, because thankfully for them, they still won the game, and the very same attacker who missed that opportunity celebrated like this. And we even got a happy couple in the crowd getting married at the game. I hereby pronounce you man. For fuck's sake, how have you missed that, big man? We've got the goal of the week for this episode, which is an absolute screamer coming from Lee Jong-hyun in South Korea. Over Over in America, and one LA Galaxy superfan somehow managed to get the number of New England Revolution coach Bruce Arena and tried to convince him not to sign one of their midfielders.
Hello, is this Bruce Arena of the New England Revolution?
Yes.
Saw a rumor today that you guys are looking at purchasing Sebastian Lletget, and I've called to beg you to please do not buy Sebastian Lletget from the LA Galaxy because he is my favorite player.
I appreciate the call. I have no comment.
In Croatia, we probably got the weirdest red card of all time, where Bruno Petkovic was ready to take a penalty for Dinamo Zagreb in the final minute of their clash against Istra. He stepped up to take, stuttered, and sent the keeper down onto the floor before passing the ball into the net, only for the referee to see this as a bookable offence. His second yellow of the game. There was ridiculous scenes in Norway, where in their promotion-relegation playoff between Jerv and Brann, a game that ended regulation time 1-1, somehow spiraled out of control into a 4-4 by the time penalties were happening. I've also never seen fog like this, but congratulations to Jerv, who came out on top to secure promotion to the top flight. And you thought I forgot about you, FIFA. Well, the FIFPRO 11 nominees were announced this week, and I'll get straight to the point. There's no Mohamed Salah, yet Dani Alves and Sergio Busquets have made it in. Now, apparently the cutoff for this is August, so Mo Salah's recent form is not included. However, last season his form was still better than Dani Alves. Barca were terrible last season, like genuinely awful, and Dani Alves wasn't even there. He was frauding a living in Brazil. Dani Alves will never get out of the team of the year. You'll see him standing up to accept the best right back in the world award when he's 65 years old. But now for the moment you've all been waiting for, because over in Romania, in my research of this country as a footballing nation, one common theme I've stumbled across is bad money management. The amount of times big clubs in this country have gone bankrupt is out of control. Well, Gazmetan in the top flight could well be the latest addition to this list. They haven't been paid for months and spent the first minute of their most recent game standing still on the halfway line protesting. What people don't realise is they're also protesting playing in Romania. They've had enough, fam. They don't want to play in this country anymore. After Brazilian side Atletico Mineiro's first league title in 50 years, they then went on to win the Brazilian Cup to do a double. Not only are their fans excited about it, but Michael Jackson is, apparently. Over in Colombia, and one captain grabbed the wrong ball before their game started. There was crazy scenes in the FIFA Arab Cup, as in the semi-final, Qatar equalised in the 7th minute of injury time, only for their opponents Algeria to score the winner in the 17th minute of injury time. We've got an actual mass brawl going on between these literal children who are trying to fight for a football that's gone into the crowd. In Paraguay, and two players from Olympia have accidentally created a new sport known as synchronized throw-ins.
Ojo entre dos, momola lateral.
And in Turkey, these conditions aren't exactly proving to be ideal for tiki-taka football. Now that it's time for Still 0-0, and you guys know the score by now, this is the segment of the show where I bring to the best of Sunday League and amateur football. Now, there's plenty of ways to get in the opposition's head ahead of Sunday League, and Sydenham might have found the best way to do it against Streatham Rovers by putting their players in an order on the team sheet by which their surnames spell out SRFC are shit. Streatham Rovers weren't letting this one go over their head though, and they seem very annoyed about the situation. Is it a real account? I don't think so. Does this need to be applied in actual Sunday League though? Absolutely. On to the weird stuff though now. Over in Ecuador, and I've got to explain to these ground staff that there are definitely better ways to get water off the pitch. In the National League, and Eastleigh had to pause the start of their most recent game because there was no fourth official for the games. They just had to grab someone from the crowd. And in Ireland, we've got a really weird situation going on at Bray Wanderers, who are in the process of forming a merger with a team called Cabo, I think also in the same same league. They signed Oscar Brennan this week, who's a 26-year-old midfielder. However, he was left slightly confused when the social media accounts for both of the teams argued that they'd signed him. Listen, Oscar, whoever it is that you are actually playing for, I wish you luck across the season. That, though, is going to wrap up football this week, and I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, then feel free to slap a like on the video, and of course, subscribe if you're new to the channel. You can also follow me on social media. It is at officialfng on Twitter and on Insta. But it's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a wonderful day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.